Let's look at these two questions. These two questions are taken from SPM real paper. Okay, this is medical insurance. You will see a deductible here. How about this second question? This is house insurance. You also see a deductible here. But the way how do we calculate them are slightly different. Now let's look at medical insurance first. After the tour, Saifu had suffered a knee injury. He has been covered by a medical insurance policy with a deductible provision of 600 ringgit. Means that the treatment cost must be more than the deductible, which is 600 ringgit here. Then only the insurance company will pay some amount of compensation to Saifu. If the treatment cost is less than or equal to this amount, then insurance company will not pay any compensation to Saifu. And co-insurance percentage in participant cost of 80-20. 80% are covered by insurance company and 20% covered by himself. Now let's look at the first part. If the medical cost is 30,000, calculate the cost to be borne by Saifu. To calculate the amount of compensation for this medical insurance, right? You need to be more careful. You need to minus the deductible first. Now, we want to find, we are not finding the amount of compensation here. We want to find the amount to be borne by Saifu. So we know that 20%, right, borne by Saifu. But as I told just now, you have to minus the deductible first. 30,000 minus the deductible, which is 600 ringgit. And then you take this amount times 20%. This is the amount borne by Saifu. But don't forget, because the deductible also paid by Saifu, right? So that's why you have to add back 600 ringgit. Okay, so if the question asks you, the amount covered by the insurance company, then we will still using the same way. We take 30,000 minus 600. Okay, you take this amount times 80%. This is the amount paid by insurance company to Saifu. But now the question is talking about cost borne by Saifu. That's why we times 20%. And don't forget, this 600 ringgit also paid by Saifu. We have to add back 600 ringgit. Oh. Okay, after minus the 600 ringgit, you will get this amount. So we times 20%. This is the amount for 20%, which is borne by Saifu himself. And we have to add back the deductible. Because this deductible also paid by Saifu, right? Okay, so the total amount or the total cost borne by Saifu is 6,480 ringgit. Okay, now let's go to part 2. After 6 months, Saifu received a follow-up treatment at a cost of 450 ringgit, which is less than the deductible. Therefore, insurance company will not pay any compensation to Saifu. Say the treatment cost in RM, that will be borne by the insurance company. And then you need to justify your answer. So the answer is RM0. Why? Because the treatment cost, which is 450 ringgit, is less than the deductible, which is 600 ringgit. The treatment cost is less than the deductible. Okay, so this is the answer for part 1 and part 2. Now let's go to house insurance. Injay Fahim bought a house insured with the fire insurance, which has a co-insurance provisions of 80% of his house insurable value. The house insurable value is 300,000 and a deductible of 2,500 ringgit. If Injay Fahim insure his house with an amount of 200,000, now let's look at part A. Calculate the amount of compensation that he will receive if his house is caught on fire and the estimated amount of loss is 30,000. So for this type of question, first we need to calculate the required insurance first. How do we calculate the required insurance? We take the insurable value times the percentage given by the questions. Okay, so you will get 240,000. This is the amount of required insurance. But Injay Fahim only insured his house with the amount of 200,000. So now we can calculate the amount of compensation. So you need to be more careful. This one slightly different from this medical insurance. For medical insurance, we minus the deductible first, right? This we minus the deductible later. So the amount of compensation, we need to take this one, the amount of loss, which is 300,000. 30,000 time. Okay. So the required insurance is 240,000. The insurance bought by Fahim is only 200,000. Okay, why do we do it this way? It's like you take 30,000, break it into 240,000 part. But because we only Injay Fahim only insured his house with an amount of 200,000, so insurance company will only pay out of 240,000 part. The insurance company paid 200,000 part. Okay. Now this is amount of compensation, but you have to minus the deductible. The deductible is 2,500. So do you see the difference between this one and this one? This we minus the deductible first, and this one we minus the deductible later. So how about if Injay Fahim insure his house with the required insurance? So here will become 240,000 over 240,000, which means 1, right? Okay, calculate this one. 30,000 times 200,000 over 240,000. Okay, so you will get 25,000, and then don't forget to minus the deductible. So this is the amount received paid by the insurance company. 22,500 ringgit. Okay, now let's go to part B. Hand state his co-insurance penalty value. Now, what is the co-insurance penalty value? So this is the amount of compensation received by Injay Fahim, right? Okay. So because he did not insure his house at the required insurance amount, therefore the amount of compensation received by him become less. So now let's calculate the amount of compensation will receive by Injay Fahim if he insured his house at the required insurance amount. So it will become 30,000 minus 2,500, right? Because this will become 240, 240,000 over 240,000 is actually equal to 1. Okay, if in J5 insure your house with this amount, which is the amount of required, the value of required insurance, this is the amount that Inje Fahim will receive, which is 27,500. Now, do you notice that this become less, right? The difference between these two, that is a co-insurance penalty. Co-insurance penalty is equal to 27500 minus 22500. Okay, which is 5,000. So this is a way how do we solve the house insurance question and also the medical insurance questions.